Yeah, hi everybody. Andrew Kerr from Network Migration again on a chilly Johannesburg midwinter's day, although I must admit we've had a very mild winter in South Africa this year. But anyway, it's just a quick thing we just put together overnight. We just want to give you a little bit more clarification on the accredited employer work visa. So forgive me for not looking straight at the camera, but I'm just going to read something to you. An AEWV, or clearly an accredited employer's work visa, is the main temporary work visa that people would apply for in New Zealand. It's designed to ensure New Zealanders are first in line for jobs and make it easier for employers to hire skilled migrants where a genuine skills labour shortage exists. Okay. It also helps combat migrant exploitation by ensuring only employers that are accredited, i.e. pre-approved, can hire non-New Zealand residents or citizens. So accredited employers, there's currently 35,873 of them. So there's a huge amount of accredited employers across all occupations in New Zealand at the moment. New Zealand Immigration, since the conception of this accredited employer work visa, has approved just under 124,000 visas, 123,915. So the process is working, and people are getting into New Zealand, of course, getting the jobs necessary in order to be able to lodge an AEWV. On the 7th of April this year, 2024, changes were announced to the accredited employers work visa scheme. These include introducing an English language requirement for migrants applying for low-skilled occupational levels, ANSCO levels. ANSCO stands for the Australia, New Zealand Standard Classification of your occupation. Okay, so if you're on an ANSCO level 4 or 5, it is mandatory that you have an English test to finalised to submit with your application to INZ, Immigration New Zealand. A minimum skill and work experience threshold for most AEWV roles. Now, what they didn't require prior to that date was work experience. Now they do. Usually a minimum of 3 years is required over and above submission of the other documentation. So you've still got to prove, on average, normally 3 years work experience in your occupation. For some trades that's different, or for some occupations that's different, but I'm just giving you a generalization at the moment. For the roles that fall into the ANSCO levels 4 and 5, employers will need to engage with work and income before approval to bring in migrants. So that came about because under the previous government, gosh knows how this happened, but there are thousands of ANSCO skill level 4s and 5s that came into the country with no residency pathway. It's a little bit weird, I must admit. We don't deal a lot with ANSCO level 4 and 5 because they have no residency pathway on average. So it was a little bit weird. So I think the Minister of Immigration, the Right Honourable Erica Stanford, is just trying to put a halt to those so-called lower skilled occupations being filled in New Zealand. Reducing the maximum continuous stay for most ANSCO level 4 and 5 roles from 5 to 3 years. And disestablishing the franchisee accreditation category, and for these businesses to apply to bring in workers from overseas through the standard high volume or triangular employment accreditation. Okay. Before employees can invite a worker to apply for an AEWV, they must apply for employer accreditation. By the way, we can assist them with that. We have offices in New Zealand that can assist with that process if an employer needs accreditation. In fact, over the last few years, we've had a couple of clients get job offers with non-accredited employers, and we've helped the employer become accredited in order to be able to hire our eligible candidates. Before employers can invite a worker to apply for an AEWV, they must apply for an employer accreditation, advertise the role if they need to, and apply for a job check. Under the AEWV, there's a range of verification steps at the application process through the accreditation, job check and work visa steps, as well as post-accreditation checks. I mean, this is something we do. Clearly, we do it for the employer and we do it for all our clients. Post-accreditation checks can occur at any time. INZ aims to check about 16% of accredited employers each year as part of the application process. Employers are advised that there may be a follow-up checks to ensure the undertakings and declarations they make during the application are correct and they are a good employer. In other words, they're not exploiting new immigrants, which of course was the problem under the previous regime. They want to ensure a safe and fair workspace, so they've undertaken 4,228 post-accreditation checks on 3,063 employers. An additional 399 are underway. So they're really coming down on employers in New Zealand that are not looking after their employees. The Ministry of Business and Innovation and Employment, the MBIE, has received 3,670 complaints against accredited employers, hence the fact that INZ is jumping on this. 419 employers have had their accreditations revoked and 65 have had their accreditation suspended. So that's nearly 500 employers in New Zealand that weren't following the procedures. So please make sure if you're going to deal with an employer, they're accredited and they're a good accredited employer. That's our job, to make sure that happens for you. Job change process. Accredited employer work visa holders can apply to vary their employer, job, location under the job change application process. This process allows AEWV migrants greater certainty, including if they lose their jobs. It happens. Life goes on. But don't panic. If you're one of our clients and you lose your job, we're there for you. We'll help you not only find another one, but also make sure that the employer is accredited, and then, of course, do the procedures with you and for you. If your work visa comes with conditions, you can apply to change the employer you work for, or, of course, the job you are doing, the location you are working, or how long you can study while you work. Even if you change the conditions of your visa, it will still expire on the original expiration date. All right. So this little blog was all about looking after you and making sure you get the job with the correct employer. That employer is a good employer and will follow all the rules and procedures. Our job is to work with you to make sure that happens. Let us know if you've got any questions. Andrew@networkmigration.com. Stay safe, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Have a great day. Ciao.